So now that I'm getting to the interior stuff, I'm working on laying out your wiper motor first. Now, I had talked to you about this wiper motor. It's a lot larger than the one that came on it. And I talked to the manufacturer, and they said that's just how it is. I called them. And because it hits your visor, so when this comes up, this is going to hit the visor. So it's going to limit the travel of opening your front window. But you said you were okay with that. It'll open just a little bit, but not much. And I'm going to put that right there. But also I had another hole in here that I need to weld closed. But then in the instructions it shows to run the wiring down through this where the seal goes and then just right into the post. And I'm a little concerned about that being in there and getting pinched or just not a good way to do it. So I think I've got a way to where I can go into the header while your car is apart, and I'll put me a track in there with the wiring, and it'll just come through here, then go into the header, and then come all the way across and down the side. I just don't like the idea of those wires being in with that seal and stuff. I don't think there's going to be enough room in there because that seal's pretty big. And then once I get this installed, then I'm going to go ahead and do your dash. I'm doing all the things I know that's got to be done before your parts get here. And this one here, it has an extra hole here, extra hole here, extra hole here, and here. I'm going to go ahead and fill all those holes, weld them closed, and then get this where this will install. The other, we had two of these, and this is the best one. Even though it does have holes in it, it's better than the other one you have. So I'm gonna get these welded up and get this wiper motor done, and then hopefully it won't be too long. These interior parts will be here. But I have some stuff I can go ahead and start mocking up for the interior. So let me get these whole stuff welded up. So I end up pulling this header panel out, and then right here where this notch is, I'm gonna fill that in and put me a little grommet here in a hole for the wiring. So now the wiring will actually go into this header and then follow down that track, and then I put a hole in the post so that that wire can go through in the post and then down into the car for the wiper motor. The rearview mirror took a little change. The car initially came with this bracket and this mirror on it, and I'm not sure if that's original. I can't find anything like this in any of the books or any reference points. But there's a mounting place for it right on that header panel, and it fits perfectly there, and it looks like a stamped located place. So I really don't understand that. Everything available that I can find is more shaped like that, the one that you ordered, and that's what it says it has. The way that header panel is, we'll have an interior panel, and then that bracket of that will pull up into that, and this is already on there in a nice located spot, so I decided just to go this route. So I took it, I had to cut this bracket off of this mirror, so this was on there, and I tried cutting it down, and it just wasn't holding set strong enough. So this bracket works beautifully, mounts right to that. So I ended up taking and cutting that off, cutting the stem off, grinding the stem off, cut a little notch in it to hold it where it's locked in place, then drilled and tapped it, and now this works perfectly, and I can send this little piece out and have it chromed or paint it black or whatever. But when it just bolts right up to that header panel where this one was originally, and works a lot better. So had to do a little change on that, and so I'm gonna put this back in there, and then I'm working on your instrument cluster right now. So I'm gonna get all this instrument cluster mocked up and set in place and make sure I have everything I need for it. I know we've got a couple more gauges that are coming. Here's the old instrument cluster. I need to get it up and sent back for the cord charge. Not so much that we need the cord charge payment back on it, which is good, but also there's somebody, they don't make these anymore, and somebody out there somewhere needs this. So it's so important to send these back so that they can remanufacture them for somebody else, because that's what we've got. If somebody hadn't returned and sent this one in and had rebuild, we wouldn't even have one available anymore. So I'm gonna send that back, and then like my transmission, I'm gonna take the time to box it up and send it back, that somebody in a later date will be able to get that rebuilt and continue to have these cars out on the road. So anyway, I am now going to I'm gonna pull off this for a little bit, and I'm gonna take and I've ordered a new carburetor adjusting rod. So this originally went down on the passenger side, and you could actually adjust your carburetor, and I'm going to turn it into a choke rod. Now that you got the new carburetor on there, I'll just make a pull choke out of this, Just got to come up with a way to fasten it and all that. And I've got some old cables and stuff like that, so I'm just going to engineer something for that. And that'll be really cool to have that as your choke rod. Mirror. Now you can see how that bolt's on there, and it's extremely secure and solid. The other one mounted up here, and I've got a panel and stuff up there, and that big lip that sticks out, and it just wasn't working out with that. And this one was already on there. I don't know if that's original or how that. Can't find anything about that, but just took this mirror and put it on that bracket, made that little end, and threaded right in there. Perfect. And then I'm working on, let me go around here on this other side. This is your choke adjuster, and you ordered a new one for that. But now I'm just going to make that where that's a pull choke. And I had an old low car cable here for a transmission D10 or something. I think that's what that was. And just so happens it fits perfectly. So I was able to hook it right here to the choke and run it right around and right up through here, and made a little bracket to hold that. And then when you and I'll cut this rod off and probably flatten it a little bit so it'll slip right in there and pin right in there. And then when you pull that rod, it will pull your choke. And I'll put a little resistance on that just so that it can hold it out just a little bit, and just do that by those rubber bushings, and that will be really nice for your choke. I won't have to add another cable or another part in there that's foreign to this car, and will look all original and work like a choke. So stoked about that, and about your rear view mirror, and now I'm gonna get on this instrument cluster and show you kind of what that looks like. This is our old original one, and the gauge I'm going to send back, and our new water gauge, and then our new cluster. Here it is, the handle for your pull choke, and that works good. Perfect. I'll show you inside. I've got your gauges all in, or the cluster in. I'm still waiting on that oil gauge and the amp gauge. That little piece took a little fitting. I'm putting every single thing together because every piece needs a little fitment and a little bit of work. So all that's going good. I'm working on the seat now. Also, I've got one original bracket. The original seat slides way superior over the aftermarket one. So I'm going to put it under the driver's side. It actually has a piece. It actually has a little piece that runs down this, and you kind of see it indented in there. And these aftermarket ones don't have that, so they ride on top, which makes it just a little. I don't know. I might experiment. I might swap them around and put the better slide one over here, and then that one there, because they're just not available. Couldn't find them. But I'm gonna set all this seat up for your USB. I've got over here, you'd ordered this USB charging port, and I'm trying to find a home for it, and I've tried it a couple of different places. I know you don't want it around the shifter and stuff area because your cord would be in the way. So I'm gonna try to see about maybe mounting it over there, but I'm gonna install the seat to see if it might be a way to put it under the seat where you can just charge, just come right around over the seat maybe. I don't know yet. I'm gonna put the seat in it. And while I was doing the seat, one thing led to another. And then now I've got the seat frame over here. And I've got it upside down now, but I've had to weld and straighten it here. This was all bent up, welded here, straighten the sides. I've still got some straightening to do here. This lip was off, beat all the pieces where all the nails were in that bottom piece of wood, and I've got it straight. I'm working on dolly and all this now. Welded here, straightened it here, welded here. I've got welded here. I had to straighten all that. All that was in really bad shape. I'm still trying to straighten this up a little bit. Had to weld it here. And then the side of this is just kind of eat out. And these are way better than the aftermarket seat frame. So I'm going to clean that out and pickle it and treat it with and pre-clean it again and treat it with a 2-part bonding adhesive. And I'll wipe that in there and then sand all that. and I think that'll fix that, because there is a bar, a little piece of rod that runs all the way in there, and that's pretty strong. Be wrapped in fabric and then have a piece of wood behind it. So I don't think there's any need to change that out. But it's taking a little bit of work to get this thing together. And then over here I've got the back piece, and I've had it in there, but it's got to be custom fit, so it's got to be narrowed a little bit, and the recesses put in it, and it's sanded and prepped, and then put back in there. Then I can put it back in there, then I can put it back in here, and to find out where I'm going to put that USB port. I'm laying your interior out, and we're to the point now where you need to make a decision on all your colors. I know you're just going to do light gray on the panels, but seat cover, and you might even do a little bit of a contrasting color on the side panels, the way that the side will be wrapped in something as well, or you can do it all one color, the color of the dash, the color of the front of the tank. Some of this stuff we might could take out and get powder coated, like we'll probably send the brackets and have all these brackets powder coated, but start thinking about those colors a little bit. But I was going to show you too on this is the wood, and the wood I'm having to kind of fit all of it, but some of it's quite a bit different, and I guess they probably use the same inserts. They just sell one that kind of fits them all, with a little modification. Well, this one you can see it's about 1 inch too short, and I've actually got the old one right here, and it's shaped a lot different on the ends as well. So where it's located, where it bolts in, and then down the center it's got some supports in it on the metal part of the seat bracket itself, and they're not on anything right now. The first board starts about 3/4 of an inch out, so there's nothing there. And I just hate to keep going, but I guess all I can do is I've got some more wood from some of the other parts, and just cut and insert it in the sides, and then maybe raise the whole thing and put a 1 inch board in the bottom, and then glue and pin it to this. I mean, I hate to put that time in that new part, but there's really nothing else I can do, or it's just not going to fasten down and be tight, because there's nothing in there. Anyway, I just want to show you how that is. This one is totally solid, and then that one in there, the ends are open like that on both ends. So that's the one we got, and that's the one I'm going to make fit. We'll get this top up here where it needs to be, and it's got kind of a crown to it, and it'd be a little work installing that piece. I'm just going to add you a 1 inch section right down here at the bottom, but I have to have it for that tack line, but I also have to have this top, for this will all be wrapped in material. So it's got to be even right there, and then this area right here where there's no board, I don't know why that wouldn't have been wider, but I won't have any place to hook some of these brackets, especially the ones that go down through here. There's bolts or screws that go right down through here and up through there. So I'm going to add a piece here, add a piece here, add a piece here. I'll actually screw it in there and also glue inside there. Here's a piece now that I've let this set all night. So I've put some screws through this the oak here. This is red oak, and I guess this is some type of white oak here, but that's all I could get locally, and it's pretty hard. But I'll have to drill it before I put the nails in it. But that's a tack strip that goes through there for the bottom of that. So I wanted that on there real nice and strong. So I've actually glued it, let it set all weekend. I've glued these on, screwed these on. I set the screws in deep. This is how much material I'm going to remove. So I've got the countersunk to where the head of the screws are beyond that. So I'm going to refit this into the seat now, and then this will be a good seat package. I got this cut. I wanted to show you how good this worked out. So I ended up cutting these off the parts I glued on there. But now I got plenty of room for the bolts on this side, plenty on that side, and then perfect for the tack strip. But it's just about a mirror image of that now. And it didn't take too awful long to do it, because I kind of did this in between other jobs. I'm finishing up your gauge cluster, and I've done a mock-up on all of it. And I've had to drill some stuff in the dash and where the fuel sender goes in, relocate some of the holes a little bit, or just kind of grind them out a little bit so they'll fit better, and the same on the amp gauge, and doing a good test fit on it. And I'm going to put every single piece of this in there and actually start and run this thing a little bit. So while I'm doing it, the gas tank needs a liner in it. So before I put this in, I'm going to go ahead and pull the gas tank and put the liner in the tank, and I'll actually drive it around and run it off the fuel of the tank, and that's going to let me test the the fuel gauge to make sure it don't work and seals off good, and then all the lines that go down and the filters to that new carburetor, make sure all that's working good. And then if I have to make some repairs, I can do it now instead of doing it later. I'm going to run the transmission that's in it because it's already mocked up and see how it feels, maybe see what the top speed is. I might put a tack on it just to see what the gears are, gear speed with the tack in it is. Just because it's already together, and I'm going to put the other unit in it, and I'll just like to know the difference of the two, because I've got to drive it around anyway. So I'm fixing to take all this back apart, pull this tank. I'm going to repair the landing where it was damaged on both sides for where the hood mounts, and while it's off, and try to do everything I've got to do to that tank, and then put it back in and then make it where I can actually use it on this test drive. So I'm going to get this tank out and put a liner in it. Tank driving, like I said earlier, I want to use this gas tank, put gas in it, and then actually run all the lines. It's going to operate that new carburetor and actually drive it to see how all this stuff's going to react together. Shouldn't be a problem, but I want to make sure. But I'm going to go ahead and put a liner in here. So I had the gas tank blasted, and then it's been pickled on the outside and epoxied on the outside, but the inside was still the blasted. So I have put a gas tank etch inside here. It's been in here almost an hour, and I have been working it back and forth, sloshing it around, rolling it, sloshing around, rolling it, and then I'll take these off and let that blow out, and that'll neutralize any rust or anything in that oxidation in there with that etch in it. It's made by the same company that sold us the gas tank liner or sealer. So once I get this dried out, I'll put this in just exactly like it says, and then you'll have a real nice liner, because this is a nice tank inside there. It looks pretty nice. I had a little damage around the front. I had to work out where the seal landing was, but other than that, it's pretty nice. And in this part, you'll see. So I'll actually paint this part the color of the car, and yeah, and I made it really don't need any work. So yeah, that's in good shape. Then over here, you can see how your seats come out now. Now with the seat, get it from the table. It's getting heavy. Now I have the wood in here where with this stopped up here, and there was nowhere to have that tack strip. And then I put in inserts in the wood back here, so it'll just screw right on there. And you can see now where the back of this bolted right here and right there. There was no wood in there, so now, and that piece was just flopping. So now it's got wood in there as well. And then with all the welding, straightening, and woodwork, this is a good piece right here. You know, this thing's 100 years old. It had the weight of one, maybe two people in it on those old roads back in the day, and they just got beat down. So I've got it in pretty good shape. I had it earlier when I did the etching on it, but it just I just kept getting old resin gas, lacquered gas out of it, and a little bit of rust. So I ended up taking this thing outside, and I put purple power in there, sprayed it around good, and then pressure washed it for the longest time, and then just put water down in it and just let it run and run and run until it boiled out crystal clear. Then to make sure it was clean, because I've got two baffles in here, two little splash pans that are right through here, and I can't see on each side of that, and it's hard for me to get in there and clean. So I run some wash thinner through it, and when I got the wash thinner in through it, some more of the lacquered fuel come out. So I've run almost 3 gallons of wash thinner through it, just washing it and cleaning it and rotating till it's about near come out clean. Because you get one shot to put this liner in, it's got to go in there good and solid, because it would be impossible hard to get this liner out if it doesn't stick well. So I just want to make sure it's as clean as possible, and I want to show you how clean it actually came out. So I can get you a little glimpse inside there. Not much with my camera, but you can see down in there. I've got it pretty darn clean, and you wouldn't believe how bad this was when I started. So I'm going to get this dried out and then put the liner in there, because over in this side over here and then over here is those baffles, and there could be something in there I can't see. So I'm going to get that liner put in it, let that cure up, and then put it back in the car, and then hook up all the fuel system and stuff and get this thing where I can drive it.